Hey everybody, welcome back to another tasting. Timothy here. So today what I'm going to do is Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban 12-year-old. Now I know earlier this year in 2020 they would have launched a 14-year-old, but we don't have it in Trinidad as yet. So we're going to do 12-year-old. Actually really like this. So as usual I'm going to pour while we chat a bit. Pour some into my Glencairn so you can see. Yeah, that should be enough. Right. So Glenmorangie, it's a Highlands Scotch. It's made in the Highlands region of Scotland. It's on the coast, but it actually doesn't have any salt. Doesn't have any maritime flavor in it. It's a little weird because it matures there. Most of the whiskies or Scotch in Scotland that matures on coasts, like anything in the islands or Isla, have a little bit of sea salt in it, but somehow Glenmorangie doesn't, and that's fine. So Glenmorangie is one of the older distilleries in Scotland, and they were one of the people to pioneer re-racking. So what re-racking is you know, Scotch has to be matured in Scotland for at least 3 years, and it has to go into not first hand but second hand or first use, maybe second fill casks, American oak casks, and these have to come from the US, so they kind of have to normally have bourbon or sherry in them, and that's how they start the process of maturation. But with Glenmorangie, they realized everybody else started to produce Scotch coming in American casks, so they said, well, let's do things a little different and let's re-rack. So what re-racking means is after it starts the maturation process for however long, at least 3 years, but you leave the maturation process, you take it out of those American oak casks and you finish it in a different kind of cask. So the Quinta Ruban was actually finished in port casks. So these were non-chill filtered, single malt, and initially matured in bourbon casks. So they would have had bourbon in them originally from the US, they shipped them across, they matured them there, and then they put for extra maturation, they were finished in ruby port casks. So yeah, and it's at least 12 years old, so that means the youngest Scotch in here has been matured for 12 years. So this should be pretty good actually, and it is one of my favorites. So, see the color? So the color makes sense for me for 2 reasons. It has been matured for at least 12 years, but 12 years maturation may not necessarily give you this color. The re-racking in the port casks is what makes this color turn this very dark, rich amber. I mean, port is dark red, right? So what happens is the cask would have been already seasoned with port. So when they put the already matured Scotch into it, all of a sudden it starts to impart these colors. And when I get to the nose and of course the taste of the flavor. So let's see. Smells like port. So the first one kind of hit me. I think this should be 40% to 43%. They don't normally ship past that unless it's cask strength. Let's double check. 46% alcohol. So that makes sense why the first nose was, wow, you know, caught me off guard. Nice dried fruits. Definitely has the port wine's nose to it. Remember the little trick, press your mouth a little and you'll be able to actually get a taste while you smell. Still has the alcohol on the nose. I mean, it's 46%, but it's good. So let's give it a little swirl, nothing too serious. And check those legs. So thick and slow, can you see? Thick and slow means that it should be robust, and like I said, it's 12 years old, so I'm expecting it to have a little bit of complexity to it. Nose is still good, so here we go. The 46%, smooth, there's no burn. I mean, there's spice, but there's no burn on my throat, there's no burn in the finish. Take another taste. It's nice. It's very full-bodied. Has a bit of spice to it, especially in the finish. Sweet on the tip of the tongue. I guess because of the 46%, has a sort of a little tingle on the tongue. Not to go as far as numbing, but a little tingle on the tongue. Very warm sensation. Does have some spiciness to it. And the back of the palate. Also in the finish, there is, so now I'm talking to you, there is the little spiciness just lingering there a little bit. It's nice though. Not that I don't like it. One tiny sip again, then I'll add some water. I'm gonna roll it around as much as I can. Front, back, sides of the tongue. Try to stimulate all the different taste buds so you can get an idea of what the taste is. So for me, sweet, spicy, not getting the normal fruitiness that you would get from, say, Glenmorangie 10-year-old, the original. Not much of that yet. Being dominated by spice and sweet. Not honey or anything, just like sweet like wine sweet. So add a little water. So just a couple of drops. Not too much. Most people use droppers, some people use capfuls. I just try to eyeball maybe like what half a capful would be. So I'm just gonna swirl it to make sure the water gets in. Nice. Less alcohol, more fruits. Trying to decide if it's dried fruit or fresh fruit. I'm gonna go with dried. Not as light as pears. Maybe apples, dried apples, but there is some light fruit in it now, which is what you would expect from Highlands and tasting Glenmorangie 10-year-old before. That's what they got before, so that's what they kind of expected. But the extra maturation in podcast would have imparted all these new characteristics to this whiskey. Scotch, sorry. So. Now again, normally when you pour, you would let it sit for 5-10 minutes kind of thing. Some people go as far, like master blenders, they go as far as 20 minutes in serious tastings. I like to drink my scotch. So, first time we spoke for like 3-4 minutes, this time maybe 1-2. The water should have done at least some trick now. The color hasn't changed much. Again, it's very little bit of water and color was already very dark. So, see? This is why I enjoy drinking whiskey. I've had this many times before, but it's always exciting to add a couple of drops of water and then see how much the character changes. Very little spice to this now, even in the finish. Let me take another taste. Hint of spice, back of the tongue just before the finish, just before it goes down your throat, but the spice that there was before is gone. The alcohol kick from before, almost completely gone. I mean, it's still there, almost gone. No, I really get those fruits. Still sweet, but I really get the Scotch notes coming out now, the fruitiness of it, the I want to say berries, but I'm not sure, but there is some fruit in there. It's not as light as pears or heavier than pear. It's really good. Good Scotch makes me smile, guys. Always. Finish off. Really good stuff. So, Glenmorangie Quinta Ruban 12-year-old, like I said. There was a 14-year-old released earlier this year, but in Trinidad we have the 12-year-old, and it's matured in port casks. So, if you like wine or port, and you like Scotch, I think this is a good stop. Definitely give it a try. I mean, I always have a bottle since the first time I had it, so this may be my second or third bottle. I want to say it's the third bottle. It's pretty new, so that means I would have finished one earlier this year. And certain types of Scotch, I tend to, if it's readily available, I tend to don't mind finishing it because I could replace it quickly. So yeah, Quinta Ruban 12-year-old. Guys, thank you very much. Continue to follow me on Instagram, Scotchmantt. Follow me on Facebook, Scotchmantt. Don't forget to subscribe, like my channel, follow me. You need anything, give me a shout. Scotchman. Thanks again, guys. Slanjaba, thanks for coming.